Hi there, and thanks for joining us for Charter Local Edition's coverage of the 2017 Nevada State Legislature. I'm Dana Cowley, and my guest is our Republican Senator, Heidi.Gansert. She's from Reno. Heidi, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me today.
Carson City is beautiful, Reno, so nice, and so far away from Las Vegas. And when I was researching, I really got looking at how many state lawmakers are from the Las Vegas area. And as a person representing Reno, how do you balance the needs, which have to be so different for your constituents?
Well, we have quite a bit in common. A lot of times when there's disputes, it's over finances, so maybe over transportation funding or funding for buildings and things like that. But when it comes to policy, I think we agree on many things. And some of the bills I've been working on are about protecting children, and we've had great agreement amongst everyone for those.
And you mentioned to me that you're very interested in making sure that children with disabilities are granted all of the opportunities and protections that they deserve at a federal level.
That's right. So Senate Bill 213 requires that our state school districts follow the federal law, which is IDEA, to make sure that they have the appropriate plans for each child on an individual basis. And those plans also have to be coordinated with their parents. In Nevada, we've had something called adjusted diplomas, and those are a diploma that are at a lower level, and they don't grant you the status to be able to go to higher education, into the military, or to get federal grants or loans if you are able to get into higher ed. And so we're trying to minimize or eliminate adjusted diplomas and mainstream special ed students as much as possible, because they come out with a much better education and ready for the workforce, much readier for workforce.
Well, people with disabilities have so much to contribute to employers, and that's been proven time and time again by large employers that do employ people with disabilities. And so that's good policy for the state. It's good
That's
for
right.
the economy.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to make sure that children can get the highest level of education as possible, and this bill will help with that.
And then you're also interested in making sure if children are in school and something is going wrong in their lives at home or not, that something is reported so something can be done about it. And tell us more about the details of that bill.
Sure. So absolutely. Senate Bill 287 is a mandatory reporting bill. So right now, if there is suspicions of abuse or neglect from a person responsible for the welfare of a child, you have to report it. Well, that definition of persons responsible for welfare of a child is limited to parents and guardians and people around the household, or maybe a child care center, but not teachers and school bus drivers and volunteers who are coaches and people like that within a school district. So what this bill requires is that all of them report if they have suspicions, whether it's someone who is outside of the school or within the school. And what's happened over the years is there's been teachers who've had, it's a very small percentage, but there are some teachers who've had inappropriate relationships with students, and maybe there's been abuse of special ed children, and that typically has gone through personnel, and not infrequently, frequently, they are allowed to resign, and so there's no record. And so in the state of Nevada, sometimes we hire personnel from out of state who have those issues, there's been an incident of abuse and neglect, but there's no record of it. And then sometimes we've passed personnel to other states or to other school districts because there's no record when they're allowed to resign. So this is about transparency. We want to know if a child's being abused, if there's an inappropriate sexual relationship, if there's luring, so that the appropriate organization can respond. And what this bill requires is that any suspicions are reported to Child Welfare Services and to law enforcement, so there'll always be an investigation, and if the reports are substantiated, there's a record.
Yes, because as you say, parents need to know these things.
Right.
And your colleagues need to know these things. And I think anyone doing their due diligence in the hiring process, thanks to the internet, we have a lot of resources to find things, but you can't find what isn't documented. And
right.
So that's really the rub right there.
Yes, I've been very pleased with the broad support that it's received and just the collaboration from the school districts, because they don't want to hire someone who has a record of abuse of a child, but they haven't been aware. Right? So we're trying to make sure that there's a record as far as our state's concerned, and then we're also going to require much more thorough screening before someone is hired within a school district.
All right. Well, I wish you the best of luck
Thank
with your
you
bills
so
this
much.
session. Thank you for taking the time to come be here and talk with us.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And we thank you for watching. This is Charter Local Edition in Carson City.